Hey, today I'm going to show you guys how to install a lower control arm in the back, this rear subframe brace, and a rear lower tie bar. So today, I really like the BlackWorks, so I picked, my entire set is all BlackWorks. But I know there's a lot of people who hate BlackWorks out there. I do understand that ASR and Function 7 are both made out of a higher grade aluminum. Aluminum 7075, I think, which is higher than the BlackWorks aluminum grading, which is 6061. But in my opinion, I think that the ASR and the Function 7, the higher aluminum is more than necessary. It is in fact better. I'm not gonna lie, it is better. But I don't think it's necessary for in my circuit track use. So I'm gonna show you guys how to do that today. These are all the things that are needed in the kit. Here's the hardware for the rear subframe brace, BlackWorks, the lower control arms, and the lower tie bar. And if you want, you cannot use a lower tie bar with this brace. And I know the newer ASR style subframe brace doesn't allow you to have a rear tie bar also. But in order to put both of them together, you need a bolt and spacer kit, which is this one. I picked the BlackWorks one. But yeah, here's a warning. The rear lower tie bar is completely useless if you have a subframe brace, because the subframe brace really is a tie bar. It's just a tie bar, but it's even better because it has reinforces the strut mounting areas. The sway mounting areas. So once again, I repeat, you do not need a rear lower tie bar. That is purely for cosmetic use and no function, because if you have one of these. But I decided to have all three together. Okay, the first thing you need to do is jack up the entire car. Some people usually they jack up the rear and put jack stands. You might have put blocks in the front tires, but let's just play it safe and just jack up the entire car and put it on all four jack stands. And then take off the rear wheels. Take off the rear wheels will free up some weight so we can maneuver the LCA in place. And it'll be lighter and easier to work things. Here's underneath the car with the wheels off. I jacked up the trailing arms, not the LCA. It's right there, the trailing arms. What this does is that I try to loosen up some weight, so when these three bolts right here are taken off, it doesn't like fall over or something. So what we're trying to do now is locate these three bolts: trailing arms to LCA, strut to LCA, and subframe to LCA. Okay, we're gonna remove those three. Here's the old LCA. Believe it or not, these old LCAs have been on my car for over 320,000 miles. And I just lined it up, so see if the holes are lined up. And it's 100% identical, perfectly lined up. Some aftermarket LCAs will be a little bit longer or shorter. That's because they want to adjust the camber, or it allows you to have more camber on certain cars for your liking. But this one's exactly the same, so I don't think I'll change any alignment. Okay, here's what you need to do. These mounting brackets come with 4. ASR comes with the same thing, but ASR has a little backing plate like this big, and it goes behind the old subframe. So it gives it a better, it applies more pressure around the older subframe for more support. But BlackWorks doesn't have it. But you're gonna have this, and you're gonna have 4 Allen bolts, 2 per bracket. The groovy side does not attach to the back of the subframe brace. The flatter side does. So you just look at the Allen bolts, you line it up, and then you screw it in. Make sure it's nice and tight, don't strip the bolts. There you have it. goes on back just like that. Now if you have the bolt and spacer kit, just open that up. It comes with 2 long bolts. It replaces your LCA to subframe bolt. Thank God mine is it came with it because my old ones are really nasty. It looks really worn out. And then the spacer, and then 2 washers. 2 of each. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to bolt the subframe area first. Okay, so make sure you wiggle it and line up so you can see the this inside this hole straight through on all the layers. Get the subframe brace. Get the spacer kit or the spacer. Get the tie bar. Put the washer inside the bolt and put it through the tie bar, through the spacer, and through the subframe brace. Put it through, you see it? Just like that. Now you're gonna put it through the hole and hand tighten it. Once it's threaded a little bit, you can just tighten it. Not all the way though. Just tighten it, but not all the way. Make sure it goes through. Yep, it's through. This is good. This is really good. Alright, now you're gonna finish the other end of it. There goes the strut. You don't have to tighten it all the way. Just make sure this is very important. Do not tighten this all the way. You want it loose, but just get it threaded through so I can hold. Alright, now it's the shelling arms. You need a jack to help me. Once it's lined up, you just wiggle it until it lines up. Get the last bolt through. Tighten it, not all the way. Not all the way. That is very important. All 3 of these right here are not tightened all the way. They're just threaded so I can hold. Lower the jack. Once you have this is done. You are now finished with this entire left side. Now repeat the process on the right side. Okay, once you got on both sides in just like this, here's the other side. You have to understand that you cannot tighten these bolts all the way in. See, it's still loose. All 6 of these bolts are not in all the way. They're just threaded so that it's held to the car. Okay? Now this is the very important part. There's 2 options you can do now. The easier option is to jack up the wheel assembly right here so that the springs put weight on these bushings. You have to do this. This is most important. Most people do this part, they forget about this part. And that's how their bushings on their aftermarket LCAs prematurely wear out fast. Your bushings will go out very fast if you skip the step. It is very crucial. Okay? Either you jack up this area while the car is in the air, just like this, like that. It's like you're pushing up on the wheel assembly, and then it puts weight into these bushings. What this does is that it makes this car think that it's on the ground. It makes it seem like the car is sitting on the wheels and it's on the ground, which brings up the LCA, and then it'll be the natural position for the LCA, and all the bushings will be in natural position, and then you can tighten it. Then you tighten all 3. What you do is you can do 40 pounds, 40 pounds, and 40 pounds. You torque it all 3 of them to 40 pounds, 40 foot-pounds. Use a torque wrench and torque it down. But the suspension has to be preloaded. That is very important. Okay, I decided to go with option 1. What I'm going to do is I'm going to jack up one side of the car, and then I'm going to put a jack stand right underneath the LCA, and then lower the jack so that the whole car puts its weight on the LCA, and the LCA puts its weight on the jack stands. So the car will think that it's sitting on the ground with wheels on. You get it? So it's going to compress, the springs will compress, and the bushings will have a lot of pressure on it, as if it was sitting on the ground. And then we're going to tighten all 6 bolts at 40 foot-pounds with a torque wrench. install the subframe brace, the tie bar, and the LCAs, they are not effective unless you have a larger sway bar. That's the reason why I even got it, because I'm gonna get a sway bar, a big one, really soon. I'm thinking about going with a Civic Type R 22mm or the ASR 24mm. I'm gonna decide between those two. So if you stay tuned, I'm gonna have the sway bar tutorial very soon. So those 3 parts I installed today is a very great foundation for the larger sway bar. They all act as a great suspension. The most important suspension part is the sway bar, okay? And that's how you install the LCA, the subframe brace, and the lower tie bar. Make sure, I cannot stress this enough, but you have to preload the suspension before you tighten the 6 bolts. You have to preload the suspension. If you don't, the bushings will go out extremely fast. I am not even kidding, okay? So I know there's a lot of people who don't like BlackWorks. I will let you know, I'll let you guys know if my BlackWorks gets bent, cracked, or ripped, okay? I'll be honest, I'll let you guys know if it happens. But make sure you preload your suspension, and that's how you install those parts. Good luck with your parts.